president said, well, two things. One, that we destroyed Iran's nuclear program in June. But you're saying that
obliterated it.
That there was no nuclear program.
There was no nuclear program. They had partially enriched uranium, certainly, which under the NPT they're allowed to do. It's subject to United Nations inspection. They were not.
But there was no nuclear program in June.
No nuclear weapons program.
What John Kiriakou is pointing out here is not a small technical detail. He is drawing a line between enriched uranium, which Iran was allowed to have under international inspection, and an actual nuclear weapons program. And if that distinction gets blurred, the public can be pushed toward war based on fear instead of evidence. This is where the conversation becomes much bigger than Iran. Because if the threat was not what people were told it was, then the real question becomes, where did that intelligence come from? Who benefited from it? And why would a president trust it over his own intelligence agencies? And that is exactly where this discussion is about to go.
So we destroyed the nuclear weapons program, which doesn't exist, but then in February, we were told again that the nuclear weapons program is absolutely real, that the threat is imminent.
Yes.
People go on television on Fox News and say Iran can lob an ICBM into Miami and obliterate the United States.
You know, I'm glad that you brought that up too, because that is also not true. And a lot of people are saying it. The Iranians did something recently that was interesting. They took two of their medium-range missiles. They stripped them down to the point where it was just the missile and the engine, and that was it. There was nothing inside of them, just to see how much distance they could get. And they made it almost to Diego Garcia, which is far. So if you instead point them toward Europe, yes, without anything inside these missiles, they could reach Western Europe. That's not a delivery system. That's just smoke and mirrors. They can only go that far if they're completely empty. If you weigh them down with explosives, or God forbid with nuclear material, even if it's just to make a dirty bomb, they can't get that far. They could get to Cyprus. They could get certainly to Israel and easily to the Arab Gulf countries. But there was no threat to the United States.
So the IC, the American Intel community, those 18 agencies you referred to, did anybody in those agencies say to the president, this is a major threat, the nuclear program in Iran?
The people that I still talk to at the agency say specifically, no.
No. So that information, that lie, came from Israel?
Yes.
Right. Why would a president believe a foreign intel agency before his own?
I don't know. That's really the $64,000 question. You recall in the first term when President Trump met with Vladimir Putin, he did not take his intelligence people into the meeting with him. Putin took his intelligence people into the meeting with him because the president said he trusted the other side's intelligence people more than he trusted his own. And I get it. I get that he believes that he was under direct threat from, the deep state and the John Brennans of the world. I understand that. But I'm surprised that feeling, that belief has held over all this way into the second term, where you would believe the Israeli information before you would believe your own people's information, especially when you know that the Israelis have a vested interest in you doing their dirty work for them.
What about General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff? So this is someone who I think the president likes, certainly speaks well of. He would be informed on this, right? The chairman.
Yes.
The chairman.
Not only have I never heard a single negative ever about General Kane, I hear only the most superlative things.
Yeah, me too.
That he is the best chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff that the country could hope for right now. But we also hear these leaks into the political press in Washington that he has argued against this war from the very beginning. It was my own experience.
I don't believe that's true.
I hope that I'm right. I hope that I'm right. It was my experience at the CIA that the Joint Chiefs were the last ones to go to war.
Yep.
They were the ones that always argued until the bitter end not to attack Iraq in 2003 because there was no exit strategy. I think that's the problem today. There's no exit strategy. It's easy to invade a country. It's easy to overthrow a government. It's very, very difficult to leave and to leave something that can actually function as a government.
In this video, John Kiriakou leaves us with a very uncomfortable but necessary question. How many wars begin not because the threat is clear, but because the public is told to be afraid? In my opinion, the most important part of his message is the difference between having enriched uranium and having an actual nuclear weapons program. That distinction matters because when leaders, media outlets, or foreign allies blur that line, ordinary people can be pushed into supporting conflicts they do not fully understand. Kiriakou also forces us to ask why a president would trust foreign intelligence over his own agencies, and once again, the deeper problem appears. Starting a war is easy, but leaving one responsibly is almost impossible.